But Brandon, let's end the podcast like we always do. And if you're on YouTube, hello. This is the first time you will see us today as we are making our picks for week numero 10 here in the college football season. Let's get right into it. We got a Friday night matchup, Brandon. It's not just for high school football. There will also be a non-Power 5 game going on. I always ask you about this game on Saturday to where you go, Ricky, I didn't fucking watch Memphis. We got 23 of the Memphis Tigers on the road at Tulsa. Tulsa's 2-7, straight pick 'em. Who you got, Tigers or Tulsa?
Memphis.
Just that simple. Just
I don't care. I don't care much more than that.
I'm going to go with Memphis as well. Tulsa is not beating the Memphis Tigers. Then we get into our Saturday games. The first one, ranked versus ranked. 7 Penn State, 24 Michigan State. Penn State an 8.5-point underdog on the road in East Lansing. Who you got?
Well, Ricky, both of these teams coming into this game today, you know what they're going to be? Sad pandas.
Why?
Because they just lost their 2 games last week. Tough games. Penn State lost by 1, so they're sad. And Michigan State, they lost 2, so they're sad.
You going for a Mr. Mankey here from South Park? Is that what you're trying to go for?
No, I'm just going for someone who sounds very, very sad and depressed after last week, as you should be. I mean, it's still hard to see that Penn State lost, especially when they had it.
Well, some of us knew what was going to happen.
Oh, fuck you. But
some of us just knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, so in this one, I'm going to go Penn State. But Michigan State, the way they played last week, even though they lost, show they can score plenty of points. But Penn State, there's just not enough things to say in the disappointment for how they ended that game, because we can go with the shoulds, the coulds, they would have done it. Well, we can't because it didn't happen. But it's it's not only one loss, it's a very disappointing loss.
Expect Saquon Barkley to come out in a big way. Did not have the game he wanted against Ohio State. Expect him to have a Michigan-like game in this one. Penn State gets the W over the Michigan State Spartans, and Sparty will be done in the Big Ten East, and it will be Penn State or Ohio State going forward. Then moving on, another Big Ten matchup, this time over to the West. We go to Bloomington, Indiana. Number 9 Wisconsin coming to town. They're a 12-point favorite. Who you got, the Badgers or the Hoosiers?
I'm going to go Wisco, but going into Indiana, they have that almost vibe of we're going to make it a little tough. We're still going to lose, but we're going to make it tough.
Indiana. This is where, you know how I mentioned, Wisconsin, you haven't played anybody? This is where you get upset. This is where you go, yeah, we've got an easy schedule. We don't have to worry. You walk into Bloomington, you get the loss. You lose by 3 in overtime to the Hoosiers in Bloomington, Indiana. Then an SEC update. We've got the number 14 Auburn Tigers going into College Station. I shouldn't have said update. It's the next game. Going into College Station to play the Texas A&M Aggies. Brandon, who you got? The 15.5-point favorite Tigers or the underdog Aggies?
Well, I'll give you my SEC update pick.
It's late here on a Tuesday night.
I'm going to go with Auburn. But Texas A&M, they did just beat. I shouldn't say they did just beat, but they did just beat recently Florida. You know how good Florida is this year. So I'm going to go Auburn.
Yeah, I'm going to go Auburn as well. I just do not have faith in Texas A&M in this game. However, Auburn has not been the best team down the stretch as well. 2 bad losses for them, I'll say. They should be a better team. I thought they'd be a better team than we've seen this year. Then the next one, we've got a 20-point favorite in Mississippi State at home against UMass. Going Bulldogs all day. Going Bulldogs all day, Brandon. UMass don't stand a chance.
Yeah, Mississippi State gets the win at home.
Next game, SEC yet again. South Carolina, number 1 Georgia. It's weird to say that now. Georgia's a 24-point favorite. Yet again, Bulldogs AD all day.
South Carolina's been a pretty good team this year.
Yeah, they beat North Carolina State.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have.
Georgia's been a great team this year. Georgia Bulldogs.
Next game, 14-point favorite ND number 3 hosting Wake Forest. You got to pick the upset here. Does Wake Forest stand a chance against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
Do they stand a chance? Sure. But Notre Dame, if they keep rolling the way they've been rolling, Brandon Wimbush has just looked so good at the quarterback position, being able to do what he can, throwing the football, running the football, such a good threat at the quarterback position. Josh Adams has been awesome. Equanimous St. Brown has been good.
The name Sean can't say?
No, which is why I'm so excited that I can. But Notre Dame has looked really good. They're going to be at home. Irish.
Yeah, I'm going to go with ND as well. Wake Forest might be able to give them a little bit of a game early, but I expect the Fighting Irish to pull away in this one. Then another ranked versus ranked matchup. Number 4 Clemson, number 20 NC State. Clemson's only an 8-point favorite, and Brandon, I know what the comments are going to say. They're going to say this is just Ricky being Ricky, but NC State over Clemson. NC State then goes into the driver's seat to win their side of the ACC. Clemson's playoff chances are done. Right here, dead in the water, don't have a chance. Well,
I'm doing the same thing.
Don't have a chance
to make
the
just
playoff.
killed it. Shut up. You're done. You're done. I don't give a shit what else you have to say. You got in the way of me hitting the table. Okay. Shut your mouth.
We'll get those buttons sooner or later.
NC State is going to pull the upset at home against Clemson.
I just know what the comments are going to do. As soon as
I don't care.
As soon as I said don't have a chance, Ricky, you said they don't have a chance in this game. No, you don't have a chance at the playoffs after you lose to Finley and the Wolf Pack this week. Let's move on, though. Big Ten matchup in Iowa City, the newest tradition, the greatest tradition in college sports. Number 6, Ohio State, unranked Iowa. Who you got? Buckeyes, an 18-point favorite.
Well, I'm going to say that this is an interesting game because of the fact that Penn State played Iowa so close in this game. If Ohio State comes out and blows Iowa away, everyone's going to be saying, well, Penn State is just overrated. Ohio State is going to get the win in this game. I'm interested to see by how much.
Yeah, I'm going to say at least 4 touchdowns for JT Barrett. I think he lights up the Hawkeye defense. And Brandon wouldn't be one of those people, right? You wouldn't be one of those to say that Penn State's overrated, would you?
It'd be hard to.
If the Buckeyes blow up the Hawkeyes.
Hard to.
Next game, we got Big 12. We've got Iowa State. We just talked about them playing Virginia in Morgantown. Mountaineers, Brandon, only a 2-point favorite. Who you got?
I'm going to say West Virginia gets the win. I'm going to say they get the win at home against Iowa State. I think that the run for Iowa State is not going to come to an end. The 4-game win streak will, but I don't think their run does. They're going to continue to end this season well, but West Virginia is going to get in their way.
I ask this every time. What's the upset?
I think we're just going with the line.
The ranking or the line?
We're going with the line.
Iowa State gets the win. So that's the upset special.
Okay.
Iowa State with the win. They will win their 5th straight with Kyle Kemp at quarterback. Like, I'm thinking 17-7 in this one. A nice low-scoring game.
And it'll
Defense
be
rules.
37 to 34.
Probably. Then we go Pac-12. Brandon might be up for this one as it's a 2:30 p.m. Central Time game, which, wow, that's going to be what? That's a noon start for a Penn State, for a Pac-12 game on the West Coast. Wow, that's just weird. But we've got number 21 Stanford playing number 25 Washington State. Cougars, 2-point favorites. Who you got, the Cardinal or the Cougars?
I'm going with the Cardinal.
Okay.
I'm going to go Stanford with this
one.
one.
They almost got a scare last week on Thursday night against the Beavers.
That's an upset then.
Yeah. Right. We're going line, so it'd be an upset. I'm going to go the same thing. I'm going Cardinal in this one. I just don't think the Cougars have it to beat the Cardinal. The interesting thing, though, for the Cardinals, will they have Bryce Love? Because they didn't have Bryce Love against Oregon State. Almost lost that one. Needed a great play by the tight end to make that touchdown, that catch for a touchdown to win that game. Then we've got the Big 12 matchup that everyone's eyes will be on, FS1. Cowboys, 2.5-point favorites over the Sooners. Who you got, Brandon? Mason Rudolph or Baker Mayfield?
I'm putting on my cowboy hat and I'm riding away on my steer. So it's going to be Oklahoma State over Oklahoma. This is going to be a great matchup. Mason Rudolph, I think, is going to come to play in this one. Not saying Mayfield won't, but Rudolph's going to be the reason they win.
Since we're going with the line, Sooners with the win. They get the upset, although ranking-wise it wouldn't be the upset. Then we got another Big 12 matchup. Texas going into Fort Worth to play TCU. TCU is a 6.5-point favorite. Who you got?
This is going to be a struggle game, I think, for TCU, and it may end up being a struggle win. But I do but I do think that TCU will end up getting the win at home. Texas is going to come on strong, though, and really give them a good game.
No, I'm going to go TCU in this one. They'll win by at least 10. This will be a statement game of, hey, you know what? We are not going to let last week happen again, although I wouldn't be mad if Texas got the win here, but I am going to go with the Horned Frogs. Then we've got a non-Power 5 matchup. We've got UCF at 18, undefeated. We've got SMU, Golden Knights, 14.5-point favorites, averaging 51 points per game. Who you got, Brandon, undefeated or 2-loss?
I'd like to be going out to Gerald J. Ford Stadium where the weather's predicted to be 84 degrees as we have this awful cold here in Chicago. I'm going to go UCF.
Yeah, I'm going to go 8-0 for the Knights here as they will beat the Mustangs. And I don't know how you give them 14.5 points on the line when they're averaging 51 points on the year. Not many teams are going to keep up with 51 points outside of the Power 5. Then I mentioned LSU and Alabama earlier in the podcast. We get that matchup this week, a primetime game. Alabama, who is number 2 for some reason, is a 21.5-point favorite. Who gets the win, Tigers or Tide?
Alabama gets the win. LSU, be interesting to see how they come and play. They've played really well the last couple of weeks. They've looked good. Alabama's going to beat them, but in what fashion?
Yeah, this one's in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and all I have to say is roll Tide, baby, roll Tide, because those Crimson Tide going to get the win over the LSU Tigers in this one, way more than 21 points. They'll probably get like 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns in this game. That's a little absurd, but you know where I'm going at. Then a big ACC matchup, number 13 Virginia Tech, 2.5-point favorites in Miami, who are number 12. Are the Hokies going to hand the Hurricanes their first loss of the season?
No, upset.
Ooh.
Miami with the win. Miami will go to 8-0. They will continue. They will continue to have very, very dramatic final play, final quarter plays, but they'll get the win. They'll pull it off.
I'm going to be watching this game for sure. I'm going to go with the Hokies, though. I don't think the magic will be there forever for the Hurricane. Going to go with Fuentes and the boys to get the win on the road. Then our last two, I know Brandon won't be watching these. Oregon at Washington. Washington, a 3-touchdown favorite. Who you got?
Well, I'll go Washington at home.
That's it?
I don't care.
Nothing more?
Nope.
And then the last one, I'll go Washington as well. Then we've got number 22, Arizona at 6-2 against 17 USC. That is a 7-point favorite. Do you take the Trojans as the favorite, or are you going upset with the Wildcats?
The hell with it. Upset. Arizona beats them, and that will end it all. Darnold stays in school.
You really have to take my thunder, don't you?
Sure did.
You really have to take my thunder going with Arizona as well. And let's be honest, Darnold is staying at USC because there's no way he's going to the 49ers. He's going to be a Cleveland Brown if he comes out. No way. I want to play for the Cleveland Browns. No way I'm playing for the Browns. Darnold will be back next season.
So then that would mean he either plays for the Browns this year or next year, right?
Good point. They could be the number 1 pick yet again in a year. I'm going to ask you a bonus question. You ready for this?
Sure.
Is there any game this week not named Alabama LSU that you would put as your Brandon Swanson lock of the week? Basically, this was the pick I made. Not a chance it comes out the other way. This is one that comes out as a winner. Not Alabama, because we all know you'd pick that as your lock of the week.
Penn State. Penn State beats Michigan State.
I'm gonna go Georgia, South Carolina lock of the week. No way Georgia loses this week. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below. Who do you got in each games? What upsets do you got? Which games are you looking forward to? Also, make sure a little bit of housekeeping, almost said clean again. Didn't say this at the beginning of the podcast. I'll say it now. Check out patreon.com/most valuable podcast. That's where you'll be able to support the channel and be able to sign up for that $10 Patreon tier like Jake and Patrick, who will be on a podcast in November. They're going to be on another podcast. You can too. Patreon.com/most valuable podcast. Then also go on to iTunes and rate our podcast. Give us a 5-star. Obviously, give the Primetime Podcast that 5-star rating first. Then go to the Onside Kick, the Fast Break, the Rick and Johnny podcast. Make sure they're all given that 5-star juicy rating. Want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube or listening on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or Stitcher. And as always, have a good day, everybody.